Okay, today is the 22nd of September 2015, and we're going to talk about Pandora stuff.
Mainly to do with the mapping and where we're going, where the characters are going, in what order, that kind of thing.
At the beginning of the story, it's not exactly shown where they are, but it's more of kind of, you assume it's either England or America from like the technology and the architecture type thing, and then it's Violet and Rodessa actually travelling to Japan, and it's the place where Mizuki trains the temple.
It's sort of like just an area in Japan of like less a city, more like a countryside of kind of thing.
Yeah.
Where you'd be able to better be spiritual.
I think for that it's more Izumo area-ish, because that's where I kind of base the design thing. And the temple, it's in my head it was more like a training ground area with like surrounding villages kind of being mixed with people who are training and people who live there.
Did we decide it was more a Shinto one, but they do go into other types of temples?
Yeah, kind of like if you kind of like, I went to like a Church of England school, but in the Church of England school we still learn about other religions, so I was thinking more about along those lines as well.
Yeah.
And I kind of we should call it foreshadowing, because we have like there's a mini thing, but it like there's kind of like a fighting group bringing down, and then it's the bit where Violet says, "Don't attack, just watch," and it's kind of showing them what they would do. And even like the characters there, some of them look like from the area, and some of them just don't. With the whole map thing, do you want to take a lead on that one, or should I?
Oh, I don't mind. I mean, I know that after you've had the America thing with Rodessa, they go to Japan where they pick up Mizuki, and then from the temples that they go into there, then we have about four missions, isn't it? Yeah, there's 4 missions, because you have first is the Onryu, which is the vengeful ghost. Then you have the vampire tree, and I can't think of the actual name for that. I think it's like Jiboku or something, something like that. It's written down, but obviously you haven't got the stuff in front of us at the moment. Then there's Teku Teku, which is the ghost, well, the half ghost, I suppose you could say, since looking for their legs.
Would you say that's in like the Shibuya area, or like the shopping districts?
I would say somewhere where a city place, where they do have things like like a subway or something like that.
Assuming Tokyo, because that's like more or less London in Japan.
Yeah, so like the big cities. So yes, like an area in Tokyo probably.
Yeah.
Then you've got Akamanto, who we would need a place where they would have like lots of homeless people for that one.
I'm
thinking
what's it called? I think Hokkaido. It's kind of a villagey area, but it's kind of a poorer area. It's not poor, but it's poorer.
It's either the poorer areas, or just like, because again you could also do it in a city area, because obviously there is still going to be homeless people in the city.
Yeah.
So a bit closer to the time we can work out the exact areas for that one, because that'll be during my time when I do the drawing then.
Yeah.
So at that point we'll do a bit more of a discussion on it, so we know a bit more where we're going with that. So after that one, then we have at first it's not a mission, but it's like a holiday in China, which turns into a mission anyway, where we then pick up Hijan, and we don't find out everything about him apart from the fact that he can use fire, and that he's part of Pandora. So then from there we then go to America, which was we were saying is where one of the bases for Pandora is. And do a little bit of time where we would settle there for a bit.
Yeah, I was thinking more
just getting used to the internal stuff of Pandora. But, so we know who's the higher ups, who's the cleanup crew maybe in the background, then maybe a couple of like home-based missions and just getting used to like working with Pandora and not just as the two themselves, and also getting used to Hugh Zhang getting involved as well.
I was thinking kind of like while we're in America, again, I know you didn't want to do like a school-based thing, but I'm thinking because their age, they'd still technically be, unless they kind of like advance so high that they're actually like uni students. But I was thinking what would, like, I think it would work in a uni as well, but more so like a horse kind of thing. So, because you know how Charlie is actually, well, it's a popular game, but it's more Ouija board and things that I would never fuck with, but you know, thinking of like something like demon stuff, because there's quite a lot of good stuff on.
I was going to say, even if we don't have the two main characters themselves going into it, we can still have a mission that's based in a school, because, you know, you do have things like your Ouija boards and stuff like that.
Because, again, like, there's some really good stories on Reddit, and I was thinking that we could use those as influence, especially with the Charlie thing, 'cause it's like a popular game now, and especially with, there was a movie that came out, I think it was Ouija, that came out, which is, you know, it's kind of relevant. It won't be too relevant by the time we get round to it, but it would still be relevant enough so people will be like, oh, okay, this is kind of, you know, newish, but not quite, you know. And again, because Charlie is quite recent rather than the typical Ouija, you know, it's just more entertaining. And I was thinking, depending on how far or where exactly the base is, we could do some like Native American stuff. But
yeah, well, we can still do it. It's just that they would be at a different area in America. You know, they can still be sent off, and it's like, oh, there's a werewolf thing. Because, I mean, that's originally where werewolves come from, is the fact that it was something to do with Native America. Or at least
it depends on where you're going.
Yeah, I mean, you've also got things like, have you heard of a Thunderbird before?
Yes.
Because there's two versions of a Thunderbird, for example. There's one of them which is the seen as like spirit of thunder. There's also one that's, do you know like Selkies? A bit like that, but as birds. They can take feathers off and become people. But obviously if you then mess with them, they then can put the feathers on and attack. Yeah, I've done a character based on that kind of thing before, so I did look into it.
I was thinking, I think Wendigos from like the Native American side, I was thinking it would probably be interesting to, you know, look at it like, you know how people get stuck on a remote country road but in the middle of, you know, dusty area, then forced to do, you know, pick straws and kind of, you know, and then slowly they begin to turn into these creatures until...
Well, there's also that, and you've got also... where's that area? It begins with an A. There's like it's like a snowy area within America.
Alaska?
Alaska, that's the one. I was going to say, I mean, a Wendigo thing is, I think, was probably more to do with that, or at least a lot of the things that you think of a Wendigo, you think of it being an area where there isn't a lot of people. And so a snowy area especially, you wouldn't be able to get food very well. Things like that. So I could sort of see it being there, especially with a lot of the interpretations of Wendigos tend to be as like an ice-based thing, which could also be kind of cool, you know, people going skiing or something and vanishing in the mountains, you know. So it's just mainly like, so you got influences in different areas of America, rather than just being based in one specific place. Like you can't always go, for example, in the desert all the time or something like that. You know, it'd just be nice to just do a bit spread out. Yeah. Would you do something like an alien sighting as well? Because that's another thing that they tend to do a lot in America.
No.
Or people thinking that it's an alien, but it's actually not. It's something else.
Yeah.
Because, for example, you have people thinking, oh, it's a crop circle, oh, it's an alien. It's like, oh, it's just somebody doing a joke. But, you know, I mean, there could be... Because you have, like, mischievous spirits. I don't know whether there are any in America, but, you know, I mean, if the research says, you know, that there are these mischievous type spirits, you could always have them. It was like, they heard about it, it's like, oh, let's mess with them, make these things.
Also, I know it's kind of, like, very, very cliche, but, you know the kind of camping sites where they see the haunted house in, like, a wooded area? To be honest, I still don't understand why people would actually go up to a haunted freaking house and saying, you know, but I was thinking, like, again, taking shelter in some place, it looks seemingly normal, but it turns out, oh, actually, hell broke loose here, and there's actually something here, we need to get out, but we can't get out.
That one can technically be done in loads of different countries, so we can leave that as a, you know, a back burner if we can't think of something in a particular country, we can do it in there.
Yeah.
Or if something that will be like haunting place. But yeah, as I said, I mean, we've got like a lot of scope. So with America, I was saying that if our main base is there, we could always do it to like break up, like as an in-between thing, because we're always going to be coming back to this place for a lot of the time.
So speaking of bases, it's I think I said this earlier, but I was thinking like superpower areas like England, America, China, like basically where the superpowers are, where like a lot of power, this whole where our bases are.
Yeah, it reminds me a little bit of. Have you ever seen The Grey Man?
No.
Because there's, although it's completely different from our one, because this one's based, it's like their order or whatever is an actual religious order and stuff, whereas ours isn't. But they had like one in like the west and one in the east. So you had, for example, I would say there's one in America and then one in China.
Yeah.
For example, so you've got like the rather than it being in like the same places, you could have like one depending on continents.
Yeah.
Like, so you got
basically one on
like
the four corners.
Yeah,
of them,
so we got like one
basically.
as the Asian continent, which would do China, Korea, those kinds of things. Then you'll probably have one which one in like the Europe.
Yeah.
Because obviously there's a lot of countries there. I don't know whether you would need one in like Russia, maybe, because that's like a big enough place on its own. Where would if somebody wanted one to go to Australia or something, which one would that be? Would that be
I think it would still be in America. Just
okay. So you've got like
we could kind of like for like let's say like Russia and Alaska kind of thing. Maybe we'd have to break that up. Because again, for the bigger continent, just you probably need to stretch. Yeah.
So you've got at least one in America because that's a big enough place on its own. Again, that would do the whole thing as in north and south. So then you'd have one in Europe, which doesn't necessarily need to be in Britain itself.
Yeah.
But just something where Britain is also involved.
Yeah.
So you got something that would look over at all the Europe ones, so they would move there, and that's where we'd be staying while we just do those missions in that area. Then you'd have, as I said, the Asian branch, and then you can either have 3 or you can have a 4th one. So it's something we can look into maybe a bit closer to the time, because I doubt that at the time they'd be saying, oh, this is the branch. We could always say, if we want to, we could always say we were struggling a little bit, we've opened another branch. As I said, so we go to America, I would say like maybe 1 or 2 there, just getting used to the internal workings of one of the bases, which would include who's the higher ups in charge of that base, because we know that Violet is in charge of the whole thing, but obviously we'd need like a base charge person.
Yeah.
So who's in charge of the base, the hierarchy of the base, where our characters sit in it. Are there any other agents that we might have cross paths with or help out or back up?
Mizuki in I think it's the first case did say that it was a kind of a throwaway line, but they have connection between spiritualists, politicians, so on and so forth.
Yeah.
And I think that again, it would be quite nice to actually see a few of this in action.
Yeah.
Like even if it's just a passing thing, or would you mind helping us on a mission while you're free, kind of thing.
Yeah, that's what I was saying. It's like getting used to the hierarchy thing. So it's mainly just showing submission so you're not getting bored by just a load of words.
Yeah.
But at the same time, showing this is how a base works. And then once we've sort of got used to a base and done a few missions or whatever, then we can then move to looking at different countries again, saying, we've been having some difficulties with such and such a place, we'll need to send you away to look at that one. While you're there, you'll be based at this base. So yeah, well, then from America, probably the easiest one to get to next will be the one in Europe, because
so
one of the places. If you look on a map,
it's an 18-hour flight.
Yeah, and we've already done Asia. We don't want to go back that way. So yeah, we then go to Europe and do a few different ones in Europe. I mean, I've got a book, as I said, that had a few title. I've got got this book that's called Rumours and Oddities in North Wales, which, if nothing else, would be quite helpful for looking at some of the myths there.
I also think we should look around for like urban legend type of things. Like even if it ends up being nothing or anything or something, it's still like, especially like the modern ones. Not quite this your whole Slender Man or something like that, but I think again because it would be quite interesting. Just not like I know reinventing the old monsters and stuff was quite cool, but I'd like to see some like new stuff in there.
Yeah, I think with some of them you should also not always have it that there was an actual spiritual thing. It could be somebody like pretending to it, so it's like to cover up their own actions by saying it was a spiritual thing.
There was a thing in the original Black Butler series, like the first series that they did was kind of Houndsworth. Basically there was kind of like a demon hound, and it turned out that it was basically the mayor of the town just trying to control the people with a rumour.
Yeah. So, as I say, sometimes it's not always a spiritual thing, so it'll be quite nice that it's not always going to be this, just so they keep them on the toes. Is this an actual spirit, or is this somebody dressed up as it? Is this, like the Scooby-Doo type thing where it's, not where this person isn't actually real? Is it this? Is it the fact that somebody's been making use of the rumour and actually that's the spirit there who's actually a bit pissed off that this guy's using that? So it's not always going to be that an actual spirit's involved. Just to jump around a bit. And as we're going through it, maybe sort of do little hints that there's, something tying a few things, but nothing like big.
I
just maybe
think we should do it quite yet.
Yeah.
'Cause, like the way it's set up at the moment is
it's like introducing things.
Like it's kind of episodic right now, but I think later on, so we don't fall into that repeated rhythm, kind of like what Ghost Hunt did. It was like there's a thing, go do it. This thing, go do it. This thing, go do it. But there's actually like an underlining plot slowly build up.
Yeah.
Like I was thinking of doing what Gravity Falls kind of did, like dropping hints here and there.
Yeah, that's
and like letting the audience pick it up and stuff.
Yeah, that's what, sort of what I was saying, that sometimes it's not always that you should have it in your face. It could be just like an odd look, a symbol that's just hidden that you would have to actually say it, but you could go back and it's like, oh yeah, it was there. Stuff like that. But as I said, that can just be slowly hinting as we're going along. So yeah, after we've done a bit around Europe, it depends if at that point we can, if you want to, we could start bits in Greece, so then we can get, because we want the Cerberus puppet to appear at some point. And
with the Greece thing, I think that's where it should kick off. Like this is after with the whole, after we got the Cerberus puppy and that little. Whatever would that be actually a case or whatever it ends up being.
That particular case, we were saying that there was a case that happened that we end up saving somebody, but Miski gets accidentally dragged instead. And then, admittedly, it's a bit of a jokey one, but it's also got hints about other things. Like, for example, one of the persons people who guides them through the underworld is actually a late hint to somebody else. Because we've got like two characters who are presumed dead in backstories that aren't actually fully
explained.
So yeah, we've got things like that where people are there but they're not like explained just yet, just again with little hints. And there's also the fact that when we're in the underworld we're meeting some of the gods or whatever, and we were saying like hints along the lines of didn't we say something along the lines of like I'm sorry kind of thing from one of the gods, and they're not sure why they're apologising.
I think it was more of my condolences.
Yeah.
I think it was it's not Thanatos, it's his brother, whatever his name is. The dream
Hypnos.
Hypnos.
Yes.
And it's more of a kind of hint to later on that again everything goes to shit basically.
Well, when you're in the underworld, if you could, you've also got characters, in mythology like the Fates, who, admittedly, half the time they are shown as being comedic characters, but if you really consider it, then they could be really, really creepy. But there's also the fact that they can see past, present, and future. That it's more likely that they might be the more like ones to offer condolences. because they can obviously see this already. But you know, it could be something, you know, that they're happen to be in the underworld, or they have to meet them
if they are,
need
because
to know
I
something.
can imagine, like, if you know the past, present, and future, you probably get very, very bored. But like, and if they're, you know, down that, like, and if they are very comedic, quote, I would say that their humour would be very, very dark, very, very what. Even if they make a joke, it's going to come off as a bit creepy, kind of back away slowly. What are you up to, or what's going to happen to me?
Yeah.
And to be honest, I was thinking, like, this may not happen, but if it does reveal to a certain character, saying, "Oh, by the way, just watch out for the state. Your final performance is coming up soon. What do you mean my final performance?" kind of thing is, and then just leave it at that. Think, "Oh, sorry, I can't say any more than that." It's kind of like, no, come back here.
Your final performance. I hope you enjoy it. What do you mean final performance?
Just give us a good show.
Kind of thing. It's like, we just wish it, like, I hope you give us some good entertainment, kind of thing, and then bugger off. So yeah, as I said, because we do some ones in Greece, because then we can start really, like, beforehand we could have had like very, very tiny hints, you know, nothing that's on their own, they probably mean nothing, but then we can start sort of bringing it in at this point where, like, you've got all these threads, they're starting to now all go into the little, you know, you're making the ball of string at this point, so they're all starting to tie together. As so, although admittedly with that part we should probably leave at this part vague, just for now, talking wise, because obviously as we get closer to the time, we could just come up with more ideas that, you know, still tie in, but we can then go into it in a bit more detail and saying, because obviously if we say this is definitely what we're doing too close to way before then we've got no where
to go, basically.
Well, it's more we got no wiggle room, and so if we just got a vague, this is a sense of where we're going, then obviously if we come up with something like, ooh, this would actually work really well, then we've got a bit of wiggle room to actually add that in. I know that when we were in with the Europe one, I know that we want to do a succubus one.
Succubus. I was thinking more we do that in France, because again, City of Love and City of
it makes sense. Plus you've got incubus and succubus, they're like a worldwide thing, really. And it just seems more likely that they would either turn up in one of them or in a burlesque club, or you know, just something where, you know, because I was thinking more of like
a high-end club that only the finest can get in, but the finest and the most beautiful, but then there's something that's going wrong with them. How come they're coming up missing?
As I said, well, you know, it's more like the I suppose even demons or whatever have higher taste. Yes. You don't always have to make them slaggy. So, is there anything else that we want to talk right now, or shall we leave that for our first meeting?
I think that'll be it for our first meeting. I'm Nadia Williams, aka the Eternal Black Rose.
I'm Tara Washington, aka Choshi Kurenai.
And we're out.
Bye!